Younger women tend to be more impressionable. I think older women, in my experience, you 30, 33, 35, the experiences that you have at that point is just, a little bit too much for me. And I really think in some cases you really can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I prefer, my women to be the younger variety.
If a woman wants to respect you and give you the respect to lead and be her partner, why do you need to have that level of power over her if you're not trying to manipulate someone?
See, it's not power, it's impressionable. I've never seen a successful partnership where the other person wouldn't allow themselves to be impressed upon. If I'm a person and I got a vision, I got a plan, I got a whole program, I would think that the person that wants to be with me is willing to learn and willing to adopt some of the ways or even some of the principles that I have.
That's not impressionable. Impressionable is basically getting someone to do what you want them to do because they're easily swayed and easily persuaded to do what you want them to do.
Who said that? Did you make that up?
Well,
when you hire somebody, you look for somebody that's impressionable.
But
why would I listen?
Right, so you can train them. So you can, when you hire somebody, you're about to train them.
Now,
and that's why you want them impressionable.
Wagwan guys, what's going on? I hope y'all doing good. So in that video clip I just showed y'all, it was really good. You may have to rewind it and watch it again to really catch what he's saying, because he dropped bombs. He really did. He dropped bombs, and yeah, he really came unhinged on this one. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. On an intellectual level, he slayed them. That's all I'm gonna say. He slayed both of them. Well, really just not both of them, because I didn't see the whole deal. But in this clip, he definitely slayed the chick. You know what I'm saying? Who was leading the conversation, I would say. This is me. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and narrate it. Off the top, you can feel the level in the room, like the vibes is gone. And I see this a lot. Let me turn this off. I see this a lot. A lot of times what happens, so many times, and it's a trend. It is what it is, and I'll let it play out. I'm not calling for, a cancellation to anything, okay? That's just not outright wrong. You know what I'm saying? But if there's room for error in any type of decision, I'm not for that. I'm for, sealed tight airlock, foolproof systems that are proven to work. Oh my goodness, this thing is. Let me do this. Let me put it on silent. This darn thing. I mean, God. Okay. So, and the reason I say that is because of this. Just off the rip, off the muscle. They're not having a conversation. They're not having an argument. It's a difference. A conversation is different. It's different from an argument. It is. It just is. Right? You can be conversing on a topic, and sharing viewpoints. You both guys are putting input into the conversation. An argument is your side versus another. And then you have a back and forth and disagreement on topics. And that's what it is. Like, if you want to say, hey, you know what I'm saying, let's argue. Like, come to my show and argue with me. Then just say that. Just say that. So this is your guest. Like, and it's just so ridiculous. Like, now, like, ever since like the, really, I would say 90s, late 80s, early 90s. That's what talk show, that's what TV, that's what anything that you consume, any type of talk show, anything that's really, that's not really a game show, right? Because a game show is just like all fun and games. Everybody's like congratulatory for whoever wins, and that's like pretty cool, right? But other than that, it's a back and forth. This is like the only, I can't say only era, but this is the only genre, right, of content that you can invite a guest on to literally have an argument. Literally to have an argument. And it just baffles me, because it's like, how do you expect your guests not to be upset? And then the hosts are like looking at him in awe, like what he's saying is just forward, thinking, and it's just, oh my goodness, it's just astounding. But just to get into it a little bit more, okay, he off the rip he uses the word impressionable, okay, and he basically says he likes dating younger women because older women he finds that they're kind of like they're a little bit too much, maybe they're set in their ways, and he adds in you can't teach a old dog new tricks. That was a saying a little while back, and it rings true, right? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. A lot of people said it, in reference to someone who just would not conform, would not continue to gain forward progress. Someone who was set in their ways and did not want to experience change anymore. That saying does not is not referred to or is not reserved to a specific gender. It can go male or female. Okay. So I don't want to say that and just not preface it for you, and you think, oh, this phrase or this saying is normally used for men, and why would he use such strong, viewpoints, while talking to these two women? No, that's not the case, right? So she responds, and like in her response, basically she's saying like, which, in this small clip, it just shows you, like, going back to my first point, it's an argument. It's an argument. She just, the way she said it, she worded it really nice to make it just like to trump it all up and just to be like, no, I'm in disagreement with you. Like, I'm in disagreement. And the way that she said it was just ridiculous. It was like, so basically she was saying, if a woman is gonna respect you and allow you to lead, why have that level of power over her? And that just, it was like there was no correlation to what he said. It's so confusing. It's just so saddening. It's literally saddening to me. It's just so sad. The disconnect. It's so sad, the disconnect. He said nothing. He said nothing in correlation to her response. She jumped out the window and said, if a woman respects you, automatically she's saying you're the bad guy, you're the bully. This is what she's saying. Off the muzzle, she's like, okay. So if a woman, basically, I'm paraphrasing it now, but basically she said, if this woman is in agreement with you and she wants to follow your lead, then why even have that much power over her? So now she's insinuating that he's inflicting his will on her in some type of power structure, being a power structure or authority in a negative way to her. Because I don't know. I really don't know. And I can say, I really can say that. I really can't say that, but I'm not gonna just leave it there. I'm gonna say this. His choice of words, that is what it was. He used this word more than one time, which brought emphasis to the word, and the word was impressionable. Impressionable. Yeah, so just basically in the English, dictionary, the English, English vocabulary, you could have a word mean more than one thing. A word can have more than one meaning. A word can be used in different ways, and each way it could mean something different, but in the context, of course, but it's the same word, right? It's even maybe spelled the same way sometimes, right? Now, the way that he was using it, okay, impressionable, this is the definition of it right here. Easily influenced because of a lack of critical ability. Children are highly impressionable and susceptible to advertising. Okay. And, you got some words that are similar to it: suggestible, susceptible, receptive, persuadable, pliable, malleable, vulnerable, trusting, naive, ripe for the picking, gullible. Okay, that's like some similar, right? More than a similar to it. But what she chose to do is, which was very interesting to me. It's just, I just don't see this. It just doesn't. I don't see the means to an end. I don't see her train of thought very clearly. She's doing it for a reason, obviously. She's just not doing it to be doing it. They went through a lot of work to get, this scheduled with both of their schedules, scheduling or whatever's. They did a lot to make this work, okay? It was probably traveling involved and taxis and all that stuff, so yeah. But she chose the most negative way to interpret what he was saying, which is confusing to me, because it's like, you have this guy on your show, but you're painting him in the worst light. Why would you do that? Now, that brings your judgment into call now. Why are you having people on your show like this? What's the means to an end? You're on your show to tell somebody, to first paint somebody in a bad picture, which is just very condescending from the jump. You're really not being clear to the picture that you're painting while the interview is going on, of course. Just trashing your guests in just like the most subtle ways, right? Which is glaring, people catch. I don't know if that just, if you're just like following the trends, or is this going over your head, or is this just what you do? But I had this in this clip, of course, right? But it's just like, why would you choose to do that? It's just like, it just takes away from everything. Maybe like if you didn't know, you could ask for clarity. You could ask for him to maybe explain it a little bit better, give an example. But what she chose to do is she chose to make an assumption, and her assumption was wrong. She just like basically said what she was thinking and then suggested that he was using his power and just inserted power in there. Just inserted power in there. Just to create this weird dynamic to where it's like, you're doing this. And it's very sad because it's something in people's minds that do this. And it's just like, my mind doesn't work like that. My mind does not work like that. I can't even get into it. I can't even begin to even try to walk that down, because it's just like, and what did he say to have your thought process immediately go to that? And it's just like, impressionable does not have to be used in a negative light. He used the employee example, that you would want your employee to be impressionable, right? Basically you would want them to be trusting. You would want them to be easy, readily to learn, and be able to learn, right? And be able to, do the things that you're trying to teach them. And, you would want them to be impressionable. Okay. That was a great example. That one right there. Okay. You would want someone in any type of teaching interaction, you will want someone to be moldable. You want somebody to be that you would be able to mold, and it would be easy to do so. Is that negative? Why all of a sudden this word only can be used negatively? And then out of everything that he said, she narrows on this one word he may have used more than once. And she chooses the word in the most negative light she could think of and uses that in an example of the entire conversation that they were having, which she was wrong in doing so, because he said it. He was like, did you just make this like why does that happen? Why is it okay just to like paint this guy who you literally sought after this guy, right? You literally sought after this guy to get him on your show, to have him interview, for you to paint him in the worst negative way that you could in this clip, of course, right? And it's just like, why would you do that? I don't see that. That's where I'm confused. I don't see the means to an end. And you did so when it's just like that was the only definition. That was the only way this could be. It's just not. It's not smart to me. It's just not. It's not. But he definitely slayed that off the rip. Right there at the end, it kind of shows you where you can watch this full video at. And if anybody was wondering. But yeah, man, to sum it up, it's very saddening that you have women, and she's doing well, okay? But I'm just saying, you have women, and and it's funny. It's funny for a certain period of time. It is. It's funny for a certain period of time. It's a joke. People do these things. And then there was like a nasty comment left that's posted on here. I'm not even going to read it, but it's just like, it's just weird. It's weird, but it's to the fact of this lady is so combative, and people make a practice of this. And what, if it ain't broke, I don't fix it. So if that's what's working for you, then obviously you're going to keep doing it. And what happens is these people combatively work themselves in a terrible situation. And it always happens. It always happens, And it's going to be this one friend who, who's been in failed relationships. And since she's been in one failed relationship and maybe has, is in a relationship now that has not failed yet, or really just haven't even been in a good relationship, just has been in many failed relationships. She's going to tell her friends, tell her homegirls, for an example, I'm just saying, and as an example, her friend that she had there on the show, her co-host, as an example, she's gonna, basically have influence on other women. How that, would positively impact someone, I don't know. I can see negative out of that. Yes, I can. Right. I really feel as if a lot of women try to be no, I'm not saying a lot of women try to be intellectuals, Judah. You want to be smart, right? You want to try to, be a thinker, but a lot of women over intellectualizes everything. They're just overthinking everything. That's what a lot of women do. They want to be intellectual, and what they do is they just overthink it. And they're just talking themselves into a hole. And it's like, the best thing you can do is sidestep that. Get out the way of that, because that's somebody who's fighting themselves on a lot of, they're having all these internal, arguments that are now becoming external. And they once they get a body in front of them, they now have somebody to actively argue with. And so he may have, got paid a nice little traveling fee. He may have even, say, hey, let me get some publicity going on. Or maybe he was cool with them and he was like, hey, I'll just do the show off the muscle. But, it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, the conversations need to be had. So that's why I tip my hat to, to both parties or whatever. The conversation needs to be had. And it's not nothing that you can just like hide and run away from. It's the truth is gonna ring out, right? You can tell a lie over and over and over and over. That doesn't mean that, it's the truth, right? That the truth is gonna, be out there. So yeah, guys, peace. I'm out.